Hey guys, Token Vaping, Polluted Pacific Vapes. This is part 2 of my follow-up flavor review for Reverb. It's another line from a company called Mr. E-Liquid. If you watched part 1 of my video, I did go through the whole history of, well, not history, but the backstory behind the company, purchasing information, website information, things like that. Just to do a quick, really quick recap. They are based out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. They do have 3 brick and mortar stores there. You can purchase them online as well from various sites, unless you have a shop by you that has their line within their store. As I stated, there are 2 lines. There's the Mr. E-Liquid line, and then there is the Reverb, which is their newest line, which they were so gracious to send me the set out to try. They are real fast. The entire process of making this fluid is they're constantly in glass containers, glass tanks, glass bottles, glass everything basically, and that's to ensure the quality of the flavor so that it doesn't lose anything along the way. These are all steeped for no less than 14 days, if not longer, so that you're getting a full high quality mixed e-liquid. It's not going to be separated or settled when it gets to you. So once you vape it out of the bottle, you're gonna have the fullest advantage of a full flavor to pull out of that vape. It is a 70-30 mix. There is a multitude of information on their website, from lab reports to nicotine level explanations as to what might suit you better depending on how much you smoked. It also has a VG ratio mixture to give you an idea of just how much VG you might or might not want. It is offered in a 0, a 1.5, a 3, a 6, a 9, and a 12. On their website, you can purchase a 30 ml bottle, which is this size here, for $17.99. Absolutely great price for that size of a bottle and for this quality of a juice. Just to give you the quick show here, this is the packaging that the set comes in. It is a clear, emptied in here, hollowed out, but it does have their name on there. It does have a quick flavor profile on the back of each of the flavors, and each bottle actually comes individually boxed in a clear little plastic box with the bottle. So it's actually very professional looking. It's a nice little twist or touch on their packaging as well, so it gives it a little bit of a flair, so to speak. In my first video, I did, there's 6, as I stated, there's 6 flavors in this line. In my first video, I did Dropsicle, Dubtronica, and Dark Cabaret. In case you hadn't caught it or seen that, the Dark Cabaret is a dark chocolate blended with a lightly roasted almond. The Dropsicle was a lemon, peach, and raspberry, and the Dubtronica was a few different types of vanilla, but it was finished with a doughy, creamy texture. All 3 of those flavors were pretty much spot on. The only thing different about this line than a lot of other lines that I've had the pleasure of trying is that it does give you a little bit, there is a little bit stronger of a throat kick on this line. So for those of you that like that, it's definitely there. For those of you who aren't a fan of it, honestly, it's not that strong. It's not something that basically it feels like somebody just punched you in the throat and you're going to be coughing or hacking on it. But it is there. I just want to let you know about that. And as I stated, all of this is basically just my personal opinion and reaction to this line. It by no means is this, am I trying to make this the end-all be-all or the authoritative response to what this is supposed to be. Everybody in this world that vapes has a different taste palette, flavor preference, things like that, nicotine levels, VG levels, all of that. It varies with every single person. So don't take how I react to the flavors specifically. I'm more here just to let you know what they taste like and my opinion of how it comes off, so it gives you a little bit better of an idea, especially if you don't have access to be able to sample them yet, or if your shop has not had the opportunity to pick this up yet or have reached out to them. They can go to the website. It's mr-e-liquid.com. They can also email them as well. I'm sure Mystery Liquid would be more than happy to send a shop out some samples to have them try and see if it's something that, you know, they could pick up in their store to help further promote the line, but also give vapors another line to have access to. Now, overall, before I get into the second set of 3 flavors, overall, this is a very solid, well put together line. From all of the attention to detail that is focused on the behind the scenes process of making the liquids, by following all the guidelines and statutes that are put out there, to the quality of the packaging, the focus on making sure that, you know, the safety seals are all there, the child safety caps are there, they are in glass bottles, the warning labels, ingredients labels are there. These also have a lot code attached to them, which is also a really impressive feature. So God forbid, you know, anything happens or somebody comes back at them and says, you know, my bottle had a really funky taste or there seemed to be something wrong with it, they can always check what lot it came out of to see if there was other issues or to make sure that it's not something that's an ongoing problem. And if it is, they can take care of it as quickly as they can. So that's impressive in itself. With that, real quick again on the bottle, there is the name of the line, the name of the flavor, bottle size, nic level. There is the lot code, expiration date, contact information, and a warning label along with the ingredients. And then this is the flavor profile, which they put on all of their bottles. So even if you don't read it off the box, it is on the bottles themselves, just in case you're curious specifically what they are. Now, the 3 that I did for this part of the video, they are called 4 on the Floor, Psychobilly, and Trance. So even the names are all different. I mean, they're not common names. It's not a, you know, it's not a cheesecake blast or berry burst or things like that. You know, they went a little different with this and gave it more of a, you know, an outside the box type of naming style. So that's pretty cool in itself too. But the 4 on the Floor is red raspberry, white chocolate truffle. Now, again, for those of you who have watched some of my videos or who know me, I'm not a huge raspberry fan. The tartness of the raspberry, just for some reason, has just never stuck with me. It doesn't make me sick, and I don't hate the flavor. It's just not a flavor that I am automatically drawn to. However, I will say this particular time, the 4 on the Floor actually impressed me. You definitely taste raspberry with the chocolate truffle, but it's mellow enough that I never got the tartness bite from the raspberry side of this. It literally would be if you've ever had an expensive tasting chocolate covered raspberry, so to speak. I mean, you can definitely tell it's raspberry. It's not any other type of berry that you're going to mistake it for. However, it does, the chocolate truffle taste of it definitely coats it enough that it mellows and smooths out the whole vape, and you get it like everything else in this line. You get the taste throughout the entire vape. It is not a blast in your face and then by the middle of the vape it's done, so on the exhale all you're tasting is pretty much air. It's not where you go to inhale it, don't really get anything, and then as you're exhaling, then the taste finally kicks in and you're like, oh, there it is. It is solid from the moment you inhale it straight through the vape. That's impressive just by itself. But the fact that it holds its flavor through the vape, basically as soon as you inhale it, the amount of flavor you get out of that basically stays with you through the vape on that one. Unfortunately, since I'm not a raspberry fan, out of the 6, that probably would be my least favorite or my least picked one. However, I'm impressed of how mellow they made the raspberry taste in it. Trance is a crisp blend of apples paired with bakery cinnamon and a hint of homegrown liqueur. Now, I don't obviously they're not going to use real alcohol in the vapes. So being able to pick that out is going to be hard for me. I'm not much of an alcohol person, so if that flavor is used in a vape, it'll be really difficult for me to be able to pinpoint it or pick it out. However, I will agree with them and state that this is probably one of the best apple pie flavored vapes I have tried in a very long time. You definitely get the apple bite on the inhale. The second you taste it, though, before your brain starts to tell you it's a little bit strong, the cinnamon kicks in. And when they blend in the vape, it is a very warm, mellow feeling from the heat of the vape. So you get that baked apple pie taste. It is actually really, really soothing, but it's impressive to get that out of a vape. So as far as apple pie goes, this is actually probably one of the better ones that I've had the pleasure of trying. It definitely will go into my list. I am going to be starting to do a few vlogs, just for the vapors, just in general, just random stuff here. But I'm going to start doing a few of my favorites of certain flavors, and then ones from specific companies. Trance definitely is on my list for apple pie flavors. Like I said, I've had the honor and pleasure of trying a few varying ones. This is definitely one of the more on point apple pies. Which brings me to the last one, and anybody who knows me again would know this is the one I would probably pick out of the 6 options. That would be Psychobilly. It is a classic morning cereal flavor with cherry, lemon, lime, orange, and grape mixed in with some milk. Now again, it's not meant to have every specific flavor taste in there of the cherry, the lemon, lime, orange, and grape. You're not going to specifically pull each and every one of them out of this vape. However, if you vape this and say it does not taste like a fruit cereal, you probably didn't have a whole lot of fruit cereals when you were a kid. I was a very big fan of 2 specific types for the longest time. This one has now made me re-question where I stand with that. Again, solid vape flavor is on point throughout the entire vape. The milk gives it just enough of a creaminess that it doesn't have too much of a sugary taste to it, like you just grabbed a handful of sugar and popped it in your mouth. It's one of those that is very reminiscent flavor-wise without being a specific cereal. Like, they're not trying to turn around and say that it tastes exactly like this cereal, even though these other 2 have the same type of flavor. It basically is just meant to be a fruit-tasting cereal. So I may pick a specific cereal that it reminds me of. Somebody else may pick a different one, but it's still going to have that fruit cereal background as far as a connector to it. So without further ado, I'm going to vape Psychobilly for the video, just to show you the cloud production on this. And as always, as of recently actually, I'm vaping on, and this is at 60 watts on Psychobilly TC. Dense clouds. It's a 70-30 mix. Now there is higher VG out there. They can make a max VG style, but for a 70-30 mix, having that little bit of a throat kick to it with that dense a cloud production, with that strong of a flavor, this is definitely a very solid, well put together flavor line. If you're looking for a line that will give you an all-day vape, but you're not specifically wanting like a total unique flavor that's completely out there that nobody does, this is definitely a top contender. And the only reason I say that about the flavor is nowadays there are a lot of companies that are trying to find that unique flavor that nobody does. That makes it a bit harder though, because there isn't a whole lot to compare it to, so it's harder to say whether they hit it or not. But the fact that they're trying is a good thing as well, because there's just, with so many vapors and so many different taste palettes, finding new flavors is not an easy task. But for a solid all-day vape of flavors that people know, this is definitely, the whole line is actually a very solid contender. Yeah, throughout the entire vape, that's all you taste is the fruit cereal, but it still has that milk creaminess. Clouds, I mean, you just saw it. Dense clouds, solid clouds. Um, there really is not. I can definitely see why Mr. E-Liquid is focusing on this line so much, and that they're wanting this to get out there. It is a solid, well put together line, not just with the quality control that is behind the makings of this line, but with all the flavors that they are putting into each bottle. The fact that they're able to keep them all on point to make sure that the flavors are as mixed as I don't want to say perfectly, because again, there's always going to be somebody who might find something different about it, but for as well blended as these are, for as consistent as the flavors are, and how dense the clouds are, like I stated, this is a very solid all-day vape line. None of these flavors do I feel are going to be so overpowering that you're going to get halfway through a bottle and be like, I'm done, I can't vape this anymore, it is just too much. If anything, I definitely see the Psychobilly, for me, being gone probably within a day, day and a half. I'm definitely a fan of this flavor. But with that said, again, MrEliquid.com, you can purchase any of these for $17.99 for a 30 ml bottle. It's a great deal for an amazing flavor. Again, guys, Mr. E-Liquid, thank you so much for the opportunity to try this line. It is an amazing line. You guys did a great job with this. I'm honored that you allowed me this opportunity. Guys, vaping community, I am so blessed to be able to keep doing this, to have great companies like Mr. E-Liquid and all the other ones that have reached out and let me do reviews on their flavor lines. With so many different taste palettes and so many different vapors out there, it's hard to be able to keep up on all of them. I'm hoping that I can at least make it easier for some that check this out and say, hey, you know what, that's something I like, I'm going to go check this out. Especially with all of the problems that vapors are facing still right now, we need to stick together and stay solid as a unit and support everything about vaping and not tear each other apart within. I can be reached at tokenvaping@gmail.com, on my YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, Mr. E-Liquid. They're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+. VapeReverb.com is also another direct website for this line. Definitely check them out. If you've not had the chance to try them, definitely have your shop reach out to them. Hit them up. Let them know that you're interested. They'll be more than happy to accommodate any help that they can get their line out more into the hands of vapors for a solid all-day vape choice. Again, anybody out there, if there's anything you want to know about or you're curious about, I know I'm not as huge as some of the other ones and some of my idols that are out there, but you know, whether it's a juice line, whether it's a device, whether it's a tank, whether it's coils, whether it's cotton, by all means, please let me know. I will reach out to these companies. I will see what I can do. I will try to get what I can to do videos further for this so that I can help vapors make right choices and make better choices and make more understanding choices so that they at least know what they're getting into without having to try to guess at it and then, you know, something, God forbid, messing up for them. With that, as always, I'm Token Vaping, employed with Pacific Vapes. Mr. E-Liquid, thank you again so very much. Vaping community, vape on, vape strong. I'll see you next time.